When I first got started on Instagram, a lot of it was just creating when I can, creating when I feel inspired. Now I have much more thorough systems in place where I can film content, but really everything goes back to empathizing with my audience. And most specifically for me, as someone who solves problems, I think as entrepreneurs, that's our job. We're paid problem solvers. And the problem that I'm solving is people don't know how to grow on Instagram. They don't know how to make money on Instagram. So that's the problem I'm solving.
Hi, everybody. This is Carolina Millan. Welcome to a new episode of Beyond the Hustle. And today I have very special guest, Brock Johnson. He's an Instagram growth coach. He's helped tens of thousands of people grow their presence on Instagram and use it for their businesses. So, how are you today, Brock?
Carolina, I am so good. I'm so excited to be here and so excited to get to talk about all things Instagram today. It should be fun.
I love it. I'm very happy that you're here. And I know for sure that the people that listen to my podcast are going to get a lot of value today. As you know, Instagram is, well, for me at least, probably my main social media right now. It's where I'm the most active. I know that it's a very, very good tool. So let's dive into it. The first thing I want to know is for you to share a little bit more about your background with a very
Mhm.
few people who may not know you yet. So if you can share a little bit about your story and what led you to get into Instagram as well.
Well, thank you for that. So my story really started in, I would say, 2018 when I began Instagram coaching. At the time, I had maybe 30 or 40,000 followers myself, and I began putting out courses to teach people how to grow on Instagram and offering one-on-one coaching where I could really get hands on with students and help them grow. And over the next few years, I continued doing this. I worked with over 500 different creators and business owners over this time. Business was going great, but then 2020 hit and Instagram released Instagram Reels. And I decided to really start taking Instagram seriously. I
Mm.
had graduated from college at this point, and I decided that I was going to make it my full time career, make it my real full business. And my Instagram really blew up from there. I grew from at the time 60,000 followers at the beginning of 2020 to now today over 700,000 followers on Instagram. And that's all 100% organic growth through just a few different strategies that I've been putting in place over the years. And I've continued to do coaching. And now here we are in 2024 and I'm still posting that consistently.
Yeah.
But one thing that's remained constant is that consistency is king. And it is true that the more you post, the more you grow.
Do you think you could walk us through your content strategy? Like, how do you plan the posts that you're gonna make?
Totally.
How do you create them? And how do you come up with ideas that actually resonate with your audience?
Totally. Yeah. So this is something that's definitely evolved over time. When I first got started on Instagram, a lot of it was just creating when I can, creating when I feel inspired.
Right.
Now I have much more thorough systems in place where I can film content, but really everything goes back to empathizing with my audience. And most specifically for me, as someone who solves problems. I think as entrepreneurs, that's our job. We're paid problem
Yes.
solvers. And the problem that I'm solving is people don't know how to grow on Instagram. They don't know how to make money on Instagram. So that's the problem I'm solving. But really understanding what my audience is struggling with. What
Mm.
are their fears? What are their concerns? What's currently very annoying to them versus what do they understand? What do they love? What do they relate to? The more I can understand that, the better content I can create. And I think the biggest tip that I can actually give here is to stop trying to create new content. People are always trying to come up with new ideas,
Yeah.
new things to talk about, new fresh reels. When most of us have been posting content for probably at least a few months, if not a few years, we've posted great things before. We've
Right.
posted reels that did really well before. So you should just post them again or recreate a refreshed version of that.
Hmm. And that was my next question, actually. What's your advice for people with a smaller audience who want to be seen,
Mhm.
besides consistency and besides frequency?
Yeah, there's a few things. First and foremost, looking at the content itself, the most important part of the reel is the hook. So those
Yeah.
first 3 seconds, if it's like a direct to camera talking head video, you know, can you swap out that hook with a new one? Can you do a new sentence at the beginning, something that's more engaging, something that's going to grab people's attention? But besides those things, a really underrated tool is collaborating with others and collaborating with other creators who, even if they don't have a big following themselves, if they're equal to yours, you can reach a lot more people very sustainably doing collaboration. So I think that's a great tool. And then what we mentioned earlier of share worthy content, that's the ultimate way to reach new people, because then you're not relying on the algorithm to show you to people and to determine like who should see your posts.
Absolutely. What would you say is typically share worthy? Like,
yeah, totally. Great
get
question.
a couple examples.
Yeah, there's really four categories of share worthiness, four things that are typically most share worthy. Number one is informative content. You can think of it like breaking news or pop culture. Number two is relatable content, or content that people strongly agree with. Now, in order for this to happen, you have to actually like take a side. You have to share your opinion, which is scary sometimes, but as long as it relates to your niche, as long as it relates to, the topic of your account, sharing your opinion can be a great way to build community and really make people feel like they understand who you are and your values. The third kind of share worthy post is, I like to call it a call to arms. It's essentially being like, I need your help. We need to support each other. We all need, to pitch in and help out here. These are very popular, and there's tons of more recent examples, but that's a really popular one. And then the fourth final kind of share-worthy content is content that evokes strong emotions. Very emotional content, whether it's super positive or super negative, is often very share-worthy.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. I think it's, I like having a mix of content that is useful, valuable content, and that it's about business and strategy and the things that I talk about. But every now and then, it's nice to have something. It might be a little unrelated, but to make people see that you're also human, that you also consume
1000%.
some funny things, right?
1000%. I totally
Yeah,
agree.
and sharing maybe once in a while a personal story, so I think that's also cool. So what do you think about, because I was watching this video from Gary Vee, I follow him very closely. He posted this video, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, talking about AI influencers, that in 2034, like, there are gonna be so many AI influencers and people are gonna follow them, and there are gonna be more of those than humans or whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, about people actually following an AI, 100% AI that doesn't even exist?
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. I think the one thing that we as entrepreneurs have to keep in mind is that, and I love this quote, I didn't come up with it, but I love repeating it. AI will not replace us, but other people using AI will replace us. And so when it comes to AI, I think that we should recognize that there are definitely some very scary use cases, and it's crazy to think about the possibilities, but with that healthy amount of fear, we should still experiment with it. We should still play with it, because it can be a very useful tool for saving time and energy and creativity. But I could very easily see 10 years from now, lots of AI influencers.
Yeah, it's crazy. So another thing that's big for people when creating content is monetization. So can you share some insights, some advice on how people can monetize their, particularly of course, their Instagram presence and their personal brand?
Absolutely. So the best way to monetize your platform is through selling something. Now, when you're first getting started, I think it's usually easiest to sell someone else's something. So rather than creating your own product, it's easier to do things like affiliate marketing than it is to go down the route of creating your own business or product.
So besides, I hear that you do a lot of reels, right? What are other content formats that you see are doing really well right now on Instagram? And of course, some tips that you can provide to optimize.
Yeah, it's such a great question. And I'm glad we're talking about it, because reels are great, and reels are still the best kind of content for reaching new people. But if we think about photos and carousels, their demand went up because the algorithm changed. But their supply in many cases did not go up, because a lot of people are not posting those to this day. So carousels and photo posts are a great way to expand your reach and reach more of your audience. And specifically within those, the two kinds of posts that I see are doing the best are both technically a single photo, not a carousel, single photo. And so I think those two kinds of posts are such a powerful tool for expanding your reach and increasing your engagement.
I love that. Yeah. Reels, sometimes they do get me external people, people who don't follow me. What you said, it helps you reach people who don't follow you.
Yeah.
So it's good to gain new followers. But at the same time, okay, those people follow you, but then you gotta keep them engaged. So when you do a photo or a carousel, I've noticed that helps me reach more of my current followers, which is great, because what's the use of growing and growing if those people are not even watching you or connecting with you? Right?
Exactly. Yeah, 1,000%. You hit the nail on the head.
Totally. So what do you think are some of the basic things that somebody needs to optimize their profile?
Yeah, totally. So first, username. Let's make sure that your name is in your username. That's what I prefer. If you your name isn't available, you could try adding a keyword. So if you were like a yoga instructor, you could be like samsmith.yoga to include that keyword username first. Second, profile picture. It needs to be a close-up, well-lit selfie where we can clearly see your face. In fact, it should be so zoomed in and cropped in that we don't even see your stomach or your midsection, just the face. We need to see your eyes, we need to see your face, we need to see who you are. And preferably that should be on a solid background, or at least a non-distracting background, so that it stands out.
Yeah.
Then the number one mistake that people make with the bio, and I shouldn't even call it a mistake because people don't know it exists, is it's called your name, and it's the line right below the profile picture. And so what most people do is they just put their name. They don't realize that line is 100% searchable. So anything you put on that line becomes a keyword where people can find you. Yeah. So if anyone looks at my Instagram, for example, on that bold line, it's the one right below the profile picture, it says Instagram growth coach, because that's searchable. And so this is where you want to spend some time coming up with a term that kind of walks the line between, on one hand, popular, searchable, if you will, something that people are actually looking up, and on the other hand, not too generic. So you wouldn't want to do, fitness or workouts, super broad, recipes, right? Super broad and generic, being searched for, but there's also hundreds of thousands of those accounts on Instagram. You might want to do keto recipes or, at-home workouts for moms. Those things are more searchable, they're more specific, but they're still being searched for. So that's what goes on that line. And then for the actual bio, 4 lines or less. If you go more than 4 lines, Instagram will cut it off. Yeah. And no one's reading the ... more. No one's taking that much time.
Nobody's clicking on that.
Yeah, no one's doing that. It's if you're driving by a billboard on the freeway, you're not going to take the time to read a paragraph, right? You want bullet points. So the first line of the bio, I like to recommend that it's something that tells you what your niche is, what you do, why should someone follow you? What are you posting about on Instagram? That's what the first line does. The second and third line can offer credibility. They can offer some background, why should we follow you? Okay, so you're coaching people on how to grow on Instagram, but why should we listen to you? What's your expertise? Okay, you're giving at-home keto recipes, but why should we listen? What's your background? And then the fourth line, or for some people it will be the third line, but just whatever that last line is a call to action. What do you want people to do next? Do you want them to send you a direct message? Do you want them to follow for more? Do you want them to watch your stories? Basically, what do you want people to do now that they have followed you? That's what goes on the last line.
Absolutely. And something I notice is people miss out on putting a link there.
Absolutely.
And now you can put multiple links.
Yeah. So you should. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely put a link. It would be silly not to. If you have a business, if you have a website, put a link. Absolutely.
Are you using the Instagram channels now? Do you recommend that people create one even when they don't have many followers? How are you leveraging that tool?
Yeah, broadcast channels are such a great tool, such an underrated tool.
Yeah.
And they're underrated because when you create one, which for those people listening who don't know what a broadcast channel is, it's like a group chat where only you get to talk. Everyone else just gets to listen. You're sending out broadcasts, hence the name, but you're sending out messages that everyone else can read and interact with, but they can't actually respond. So it's a really useful tool for promoting things, for selling things, for polling your audience, for giving quick little valuable tips and insights. Those are the two things I do the most. I kind of alternate between, hey, here's a quick tip, here's a quick reminder, here's a quick bonus, or hey, answer this poll, answer this question, I want your feedback.
Now, a couple last questions. What's your advice for entrepreneurs who are struggling right now with content creation? Whether they're creating content and they feel like nobody's watching, or they're not consistent and they're like about to give up, right? What's your advice for people struggling right now with their Instagram strategy?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I want to validate that a lot of people are struggling. I don't want to say everyone, but I might be so bold as to say the majority of business owners are struggling with content creation and consistency, and especially struggling with low views and low engagement. I will also say this. Now is the best time. It's never going to be better than it is right now. You're never going to have the opportunity that you have right now. So even though it's not easy, it is worth it. And so I think embracing the suck and being like, yeah, it's not going to be fun for a few months. While I build this new skill, it's not going to be easy, but it is going to be worth it. And I love removing us from the context of social media, because on social media, everything is instant. Everything is right now, right this second, blow up overnight, go viral, become famous, make $1 million. But in life, we understand that's not how things work. It's going to take months, if not years of, hey, this sucks right now. This isn't super fun. I'm still learning this skill. I'm not very good at it. But really, if I can say anything, it's that it is worth it in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Brock, thank you so much for your time today. It's been awesome, super valuable. Where can people find you? Where can they connect with you? I mean, obviously Instagram, but anything you want to share where people can message you or interact with you or learn more about you?
Absolutely. So Instagram is, like you said, the best place to follow me. I am on every platform with the same username. It's Brock11 Johnson. So Brock11 Johnson. And then we also created a free guide with some Instagram story ideas for your audience if they want to check those out. So I'm totally free to download. And those are on instaclubhub.com/historias. I will send you the link to that so you can put that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your time today. Thanks to everyone who listened or watched. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you go follow Brock. Download the guides that he's providing us. And thank you so much for sticking with us. Thank you, Brock.
Thank you.